Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org, streaming live. And today is September 1st, 2025. And I'm so grateful to have you on board with me. I'm going to talk about what happened to me at the airport. I'm going to ask you a question. Now, when was the last time that you flew? And have you been to an airport lately? If so, which one? I happen to be traveling through LAX, and I want to tell you all about that. And I have a whole list of things that I made here on my phone. It was a very interesting trip. And I'm going to share with you what happened at the airport, departing and arriving, and also upon my return. So, before I do that, let me just bring you a brief word from the sponsor. And as I'm doing that, this is especially important for those of you that want to protect your wealth for your future and your retirement. But then I also want to hear from you about your latest travel tales. And you probably know that I did not step foot on an airplane after I got kicked off in 2020, long before the suffocation devices were required. I still got kicked off of Southwest. And so I have a little bit of a sore spot flying, and I'm going to share all that with you in just a moment. I also want to let you know that I'm well aware of the headlines that are going on related to recent bang bang events. I'll be covering that for you in an upcoming video from a different perspective, one that you probably haven't heard from others. And I'm also aware of Trump's tariffs being shot down again, this time by an appeals court. I will cover that in an upcoming video. But tonight, we're going to talk about what happened to me at the airport. And first, let's hop on over to noblegoldinvestments.com. And this is my longtime sponsor. Friends, it's the only gold company that I trust. And I have a message for you from them. And again, that's at noblegoldinvestments.com. So if you or someone you know is getting close to retirement or just thinking ahead, well, you've probably done a solid job of saving. But there's something that most people don't consider, and that is how much of your money is just sitting around in cash. Now, I'm all in favor of spending cash and keeping cash, but when it comes to your investments, you don't want that cash to just melt. So it might feel safe holding on to that cash, but that guarantees one thing: you are losing purchasing power. And that's because of inflation. Inflation eats away at it. The dollar's value keeps slipping. And that's why more and more people, just like you, are looking at real assets like physical gold. Sometimes I bring these messages and people say, well, these are just pieces of paper. No, we're talking about actual precious metals you can have in your hands: physical gold, physical silver, and this can help protect your savings. And one company makes it easy for you to figure out what to do, and that is Noble Gold Investments. You can buy gold, or you can buy silver, you can buy coins, you can buy bars, you can have them shipped directly to your home, or Noble Gold can store them for you securely. So this is a very smart way to convert your cash into something that actually holds value. Now, the reason I love Noble Gold is they are fair, they're transparent. I know the CEO personally, the owner of this company. This is a family-run business in California. You can speak to someone on the phone when you give them a call, and that is 877-646-5347. I've been telling you about Noble Gold for a long time. This is your time to give them a call and just find out. There's no hassle, no obligation, no pressures, none of that, just solid information. And I did want to let you know that they always have some type of promotion going on, and you can get two 5-ounce silver coins that have a value of $500. So check it out. See if you qualify for that. And remember, when you own real assets, you have real wealth. Now, the disclaimer is that past performance is not indicative of future earnings or results. And of course, investments of any kind, including precious metals, carry a risk. So talk to your financial advisor before making any investment decisions, and get all the information you need over at noblegoldinvestments.com. Friends, I'm glad to see that I can see you here today. The last time I did a live stream, YouTube hid my video, so I was unable to see your comments in real time. I did go back and look at them, and I'm so grateful to all of you for being on board all these years. I love you. I love my audience. I have the best audience on YouTube, and that's why I wanted to share this personal story. We're not talking about the headlines tonight. Heaven knows there's a lot going on that is catching the attention of a lot of people, but I just want to share a personal story. And I actually just got back to Florida, I think it was about a week ago. And so I thought, I have got to share with everybody what I went through. So, first of all, I did a video for you all about the Real ID. And I gave you websites and ways to push back against that. Now, unfortunately, in the state of Florida, they only issue Real IDs. They no longer have what is a regular driver's license. And I think it's also in Georgia, maybe West Virginia. There's a handful of states that no longer have a regular driver's license. Now, I spoke out about it, and many people did as well. And I did several stories for you on this channel of people that actually turned in their Real ID and got their regular driver's license. And the reason why that's so important is it's an action that you can take. It's a way to educate people at the DMV that you don't want no stinking Real ID, because it's basically a national ID card kind of dressed up as a state ID. Now, I've done other videos, and I'll link them for you at the end of this one. Remember, I'm filming live, so you have to wait a little while for me to get the description all up to date. But you can also go to my Substack, which is peggyhall.substack.com. And I did a deep dive on the company that issues the Real IDs. And this is called Idemia. And they are behind all of this facial recognition. And it's strange, but true. They are the ones that issue the driver's licenses for nearly every state. So it's this massive conglomerate that actually handles all of your data and my data. And that kind of rubs me the wrong way as well. Now, I didn't really know about this until recently, which is why I did videos on it probably a couple of months ago. But I did want to let you know that I traveled on a Real ID, although people have told me that they are still traveling on their regular driver's license. Several months ago, when the deadline for the Real ID was coming, closer, Kristi Noem had a whole PR stunt, I guess, saying that you won't be able to fly unless you have a Real ID. And that's not true. You can travel on a passport. If you have a different kind of government ID, like a military ID, you can travel on that. Gone are the days that you can travel on a Costco card. I don't belong to Costco anymore, but years ago, my gosh, had to be 10 years ago or more, I forgot my driver's license at the Orange County Airport, and they let me board that plane with a Costco ID card. I find that really amazing. So there are different ways. You can still go with your regular driver's license. We're told that you will have an enhanced security check, and we're told that the Real IDs are more secure than a regular driver's license. Why? Both have my picture and both have my address. And in the state of Florida, you have to have a fingerprint. Also in California, I don't know if it's the same in your state. So anyway, that was fine. I was able to have that, ID card. But when I got to the airport, of course, you can do a self check-in for your bags to get your own boarding pass. You know me, and if you don't, welcome. And what you might not know about me, if you're new to the channel, is I don't do self-checkout. Now, some of you like it. You've told me I like to bag my own groceries. It's faster. I don't want to deal with other people. No, that's fine. That's your choice. I personally am standing against it because, number one, I'm not an employee of the airlines or the grocery store or CVS. And if I'm going to be checking out my own stuff, I want an employee discount. Secondly, they're using that. These companies are using it to kind of go after people saying that you stole something. And they're also taking a picture of your face on that screen when you're doing self-checkout. You may not have known that, but now you do. So I don't do self-checkout at the grocery store or at CVS, and I certainly don't do it at the airport. So I went through to the regular checking in, and there is something I saw recently. Darn it, I can't find the clip. Let me know if you've seen it. If you find the clip, you can email me, support@thehealthyamerican.org. And it's so clever. I think it's in Asian countries. And unlike this airport where I had to lift my bag up onto the scale to be weighed when I'm checking in and getting my boarding pass. Now, it wasn't that heavy, but some suitcases are probably weighing about 50 pounds, and you're lifting it up onto that conveyor belt scale. Well, other countries have a little ramp, and you just roll it up. And I said, because this is what I do, I talk about things in public so everybody can hear me. That's one of my action steps that you could do as well. So for other people to hear me, I said, wouldn't it be clever if there was just a ramp where you could roll your suitcase up instead of having to lift it up onto the conveyor belt? And she said, the check-in ticketing agent say, that is a really great idea. So that's how ideas spread. And I wish I could find that video. It's so smart. So why in the non-spinning world in our country do we still have these strange contraptions where you have to lift the luggage up onto that conveyor belt? I thought that was interesting. All right. Now it's time for the TSA pat down and groping and physical assault and all that other stuff. I've also told you that I have what's called TSA pre-check. Unbeknownst to me, I might not have done it. Now I was kind of, which are you going to choose? Because some people alerted me to the fact that when I signed up for that, I basically gave my life away. I haven't looked into that yet. I need to do so. So do your due diligence before you sign up for the TSA pre-check. The reason why I did that is because I don't want to go through the cancer screening booth. That's not a booth that screens you for cancer. It's a booth that, how do I put this delicately? Well, I think you can connect the clots. It radiates your body. You have to go in the booth with your hands up like you're a criminal. Oh, don't shoot. I'm innocent. So first of all, I, as a law-abiding individual, am not going to raise my arms in a posture of don't shoot. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have people see me do that, to put in their brain that this is something that we should do, is prove our innocence. No, we don't have to prove any innocence. Even in a court of law, you don't have to prove your innocence. They have to prove you guilty. You do not have to prove anything. So I'm not going to prove anything, and I'm not going to raise my arms, and I'm not going to go into that cancer screening booth. When you do the TSA pre-check, they put you through the good old-fashioned metal detector. Now, try to make some logic out of that, if you would. Well, I also did a deep dive on these cancer screening booths in previous videos. And gosh, this was a couple decades ago. The individuals who were selling those cancer screening booths, which by the way, are not in every airport around the world, but they certainly are in LAX, just do a little deep dive onto who owns those. And they're like, $300,000 or something for one of those, where the metal detector is like, a few $1,000s. So yeah, that was really lining somebody's pockets unnecessarily. So anyhow, I'm going through the TSA pre-check. You leave your shoes on, you leave your coat on, and that's another benefit. Although I have heard that the TSA is going to roll back the shoes and the liquids, and they also have a limit on powder. So if you like baby powder or something, they're probably going to confiscate that, because you probably are a bad guy that wants to do something bad on those airplanes. Have to watch my language here. So it also dawned on me, this whole ritual of taking off your shoes. I've spoken about shoes in depth on this channel, about these orchestrated events that are done by the bad guys, the evildoers, the puppet masters, the New World Disorder. And one of their calling cards is always mentioning shoes, people leaving their shoes behind, people losing their shoes, people being barefoot, people going back for their shoes. Remember, fight, fight, fight? Oh, yes. That individual said, my shoes, because that's exactly what you're going to be thinking about when snipers are attacking you. Nonetheless, this concept of taking off your shoes, the symbology of that, the symbolism of that is that you are giving over your freedom to the enemy. They are the conqueror. Now you are submitting to them. So there are others that have done deep dives on the shoes. I'm so grateful for all of you, because so many of my viewers sent me more clips and information and insights into this whole shoe symbology. And I definitely, or symbolism, I will definitely pull that together in an upcoming video. But I never liked taking off my shoes because, well, actually, I guess it keeps everybody safe, because, that's a perfect place to hide the explosive devices. Walking on them won't cause them to explode. Of course, not at all. But just having them in your shoes perfect place to hide them. And by the way, if they try to get away with that once, of course they're going to do it again and again and again and again, which is why in the last, let's say 20 plus years, no explosives were ever found in a pair of shoes, but you should still keep taking them off because the TSA said so. Anyhow, I kept my shoes on. I go through the metal detector, and wouldn't you know it, it beeps. They pull me aside, and I'm like, oh, what can I just go? Do I have earrings on or something? Can I just go through again? Oh, no, that was a random. You were selected randomly for the TSA physical assault, pat down, groping. Well, this is my lucky day. And I'm kind of like, I need to go. He said, just, you can go through this cancer screening booth. He didn't use those words. You can go through this. And I said, oh, no, I have a medical condition. It's called common sense. Yeah, no, I'm not going to go through that. Said, well, you're going to have to wait for the pat down. Now, you probably know that now comes the public humiliation ritual. Yeah. So it goes like this. First, they make you wait. And everybody else is going through, even though you were there early and you have nothing of note. You're not carrying any explosives in your shoes or your underwear, for that matter. You're not carrying any bang bangs or other weapons. And of course, I know that I fit the profile of a bad guy, so that's probably why they called me out. So the public humiliation ritual consists of making you wait, and you start to get nervous because even though you were there early, they're keeping you later, and you want to make sure that you can board your flight. And maybe they changed the gate and you have to check that. And everybody else is walking through looking at you as you're standing there, not too close to the cancer screening booth, mind you. They want you to stand right next to it, but I sort of shuffled to the side. And I'm asking, of course, I didn't do that because if you look like you're impatient, they're going to wait even longer. So I had a big smile on and I said, oh yeah, I understand. And as people were going through, I said to them, this is for your safety. They've called me out of line for your safety. Now, I wasn't making threats at all, but again, this is what I do. I educate the public publicly. I say these things out loud, like I did with the suffocation devices, going through the grocery store saying, you don't have to wear that. You don't have to wear that. You don't have to wear that. I said that out loud. So this was an opportunity for me during my public humiliation ritual to let everyone know that they're doing this for your safety. And a few people looked at me like, and a few others, kind of knew like, bizarre, I know. And as the guy was, going through the other luggage and stuff, I said, can I just walk through again? Oh, no, you were called out. Well, while I was waiting there for my public humiliation ritual, several other people were also being targeted. It was like every third person that darn metal detector went off. And for a couple of people, they're looking, oh, do I have a belt on, or did I leave my keys in my pocket? And oh, no. They wanted everyone to get the, how do I put it very delicately, the physical assault. So they take you through, they don't let you go through the metal detector again. They take you through a little gate. That's really secure. And then they take you over for, I guess it's gender specific. So I had a young woman. She was actually very friendly. And I thought, I'm going to just make the best of this. And my thinking is like, isn't she worried? Like if I was a bad guy and I had some kind of explosives or something, isn't she worried she's going to touch something, the trigger, and she's going to blow up? I mean, the whole thing is theater. The whole thing is a big joke, only it's not funny. But I tried to make the best of it because that's who I am. So she said, now here, I'm going to touch you this way and that way and blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go into all the details. You probably know. And I said, oh, I've been through this before. And she said, now, do you want to go in private? And I said, oh, no, I think everyone should see what's going on because it's for our safety. And I don't know if she got what I was saying or not. And in times past, I have been known to do things like recite the Lord's Prayer out loud so everybody can hear me. Another time I sang, God bless America. And I've done all sorts of things like that because I want people to see how ridiculous this public humiliation ritual is. So she touched all the areas that shouldn't be touched by someone that I don't know. And then, of course, had to test her gloves because that's part of the theater, that's part of the performance that they do. And lucky for me, they were fine. And I said, you know, let me just ask you this. Have you ever found anything? Have you ever caught anybody? Because I was being friendly to her, and also I thought I could ask her that. And she said, "Oh, one time I found a knife." Really? Somebody tried to get on a plane with a knife? Oh yeah, it was a woman. She said she forgot she had it. Like, well, that actually is probably true because in the old days, you could travel with your pocket knife and your Swiss Army knife and all of that. So anyhow, I got on the flight and I wasn't delayed, and I did get my bag. Now here's on another flight, because I had a couple of flights. They stopped. This was not the same flight. This was a different flight. They stopped my stuff that went through the X-ray scanner, and I thought, oh, darn it, I brought yogurt to eat on the plane. Now, I kind of did it as an experiment because I heard that they weren't doing that anymore. I heard the TSA wasn't going to be as strict. And it's a sealed carton of yogurt. All right. I'm hungry. I want to have it for my breakfast. Is there a law against eating yogurt on a plane? So before they got to me, this is what was truly troubling, all snark aside. There was a father with two boys. I would say they were 8 and 10 years old. All right. So young boys, not teenagers, certainly not on their own. And the man, the TSA agent who's going through all of their stuff, as I'm standing there waiting for my bag to go through, he starts opening up medical products. Excuse me, is nothing private anymore? They start opening up a box of syringes, and I couldn't help but see it because I'm standing right there and looking at it as if the TSA agent is going to understand these medical products. And the poor 9-year-old boy is looking up at his dad going, what are they doing, Dad? It's probably his medicine. And the dad, God bless him, I just wanted to give him a hug. He said, well, this is going to make you into a superhero. I don't know exactly what the dad said. It was something along those lines of trying to make it better for the boy. Now, I understand that because the boy was young. Really, what the father was thinking, I think, is what I was thinking, which is this is absolutely ridiculous. You are targeting a young child with his medicine. I was so infuriated. It put all the other pat downs and yogurt and all thing aside, because here's what really troubled me. This 9-year-old boy or 8-year-old and the 10-year-old, they were watching tyranny and oppression occur in front of their own eyes. They were being indoctrinated into a system whereby just by traveling, you are suspected of a crime, which is completely against our Fourth Amendment rights. There is no reason, there is no reasonable grounds for anyone in that airport to be groped, to be investigated, to be have your stuff gone through at all. That would be like you going to a grocery store and they're checking your bag. That would be like you having to have an armed guard in the parking lot, because just the fact that you're in a parking lot means you are probably a carjacker. Why? Well, because you're in a parking lot. So you're the criminal because you're at the airport and you want to get on a plane. Now, I know what life was like before all of this, because I used to just walk on a plane. I mean, there was nothing there. You just walked on a plane. And these young boys now, going through their life, have as a blueprint in their mind, in their experience, that you defer to this illegitimate authority of these nincompoops that are performing a theatrical performance, looking through your personal product. Yes, I'm getting upset. Looking through your personal products and seeing the dad there, unable to stop it. It's horrifying. That really ruined my flight. I'll just put it bluntly. So yeah, that is what I saw. And he also took my yogurt out and he starts looking at the label and reading it. What is he now? Some farm expert? Some dairy product inspector? And he hands it to me. It's a little bit over the allowed weight, but I'm going to let you do it this time. So there was a woman standing next to me waiting for her bag. And I said, well, I kind of did it as an experiment. I didn't think they would care about yogurt. She said, I fly out of this airport every single Monday. I always have yogurt. They never stop me. I don't know what she was being stopped for. Maybe it was for yogurt. Okay. Let me continue. I haven't even gotten on the plane. Oh my gosh. So it's so frustrating, and that's intentional. Okay. They don't want us to fly. You know who they are. They don't want us to travel. And I understand there are plenty of y'all, that's my Southern accent, plenty of all y'all who say, I have not been on a plane since 2001 and I'm never going to get on one. You know what? That's your choice. In a way, you're kind of doing what they want you to do, which is to not travel. And I'm going to defy as long as I can. Everyone make your own choice that's right for you. I have no opinion on that other than my own opinion for myself, which is I want to fly and I'm going to do it. And I am going to make a scene when I can, as I did, saying these things out loud. So I forgot to mention, when I was going through the TSA pre-check, which is a shorter line than the other line, they had another line, an empty line. Let me know if you know about this. It's called Clear. Okay, right off the bat, I don't like the name. It sounds like a science fiction, and it really is. So the Clear is where you do your TSA pre-check, but then you stand in front of a monitor and they take a picture of your retinas. I ain't letting nobody scan my retinas. And that's the correct English grammar. So I ain't doing it. And I'm telling you, I saw no one in that line. And there was even like a huckster. There was a guy out there hawking the product. Now step right up. And the first year is free if you have Hilton rewards. You can go through and you don't have, it's like they're trying to sell it. So I'm glad, at least at where I was, people were not going through that clear channel or that clear aisle. All right. So now I'm at the TSA agent and I give him my real ID. Of course, that's not enough. I thought that was enough. I thought that's why we had a real ID, because it would protect your identity. Oh, no, 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 no. No, they want you to, again, stand in front of the screen and have the biometric, meaning they're going to measure your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your face, all that stuff, and see if it's really you. I decline. I opt out. No, thank you, is what I say. I handed over my ID. I stepped away from there because he said, they even have footprints, which is so distasteful. Remember the footprints for the cooties? You had to like stand on the footprints because as an adult, you had no idea where to stand. And you had to stand where the government and the grocery stores told you to. How many of you were like me and you walked up the aisle the wrong way through the arrows? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So they want you to stand on the footprints in front of this thing. I'm like, no, not going to do it. And I handed him the card and I said, no, thank you. They want you to say like opt out, and I'm not going to do that either. And then of course, they give you the extra, like, can I really tell it's her? What is our world coming to? And waves me through. So all that is good and well. All right. So I arrive at my destination and I had arranged for a taxi because I don't do Uber, friends. Certainly not where I was, because my understanding is Uber doesn't scan for like drugs and alcohol and all that. So I got an actual taxi and I arranged for it in advance. And it was someone had recommended this particular taxi driver to me. So it was a personal recommendation. And I can have another video for you on this separately coming up. Maybe I can do it Friday if I can get it going. So I go out and there's the car, and I get in the car and I realize it's a Tesla. And you know what? Fine. I'm just going a few miles to my destination. Again, I don't drive a Tesla. You might love them. I don't care for these electric vehicles for all the reasons I've done many videos about that because they're not green and all the other problems. So we're in the car and there's a very nice man driving, only he wasn't driving. Yeah, yes, you heard me right. Do you know what I'm saying? A self-driving Tesla. And yours truly was in it. I mean, I couldn't have planned this if I wanted to. And I get out my phone and I said, do you mind if I take a picture of this? I've never been in a car like this. I was, trying to be affable and gather information as to why in the non-spinning world someone would want to drive well, you're not really driving a self-driving car, why someone would want a self-driving car. So stay tuned for that video. I'm going to tell you how much it cost him, why he chose to do it. I have a whole video of my trip in this self-driving car as he's telling me all the great things about it. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So that was another part of my trip, the self-driving Tesla. Now he could drive it and he did put his hands on, but he was showing me and doing it all. You've got to see that upcoming video. All right. So I've got my trip and I'm on the return now. Now I'm at LAX airport. And shoot, I don't have it on me. I was going to do a little show and tell. So I go to buy some water and a couple of treats to have on the flight. And I specifically wanted a large plastic bag because my suitcase was so full that my little travel pillow actually wouldn't fit in the suitcase. And I just didn't want it carrying it around. And I thought, I'm going to put my little pillow in my jacket in a plastic bag as my carry-on. So I had a purse and then I was going to have a carry-on. So I bought some water and a couple of snacks. And of course, this is LA and it's all self-checkout, except for one woman helping some Japanese people trying to help them with the change. So they were paying in cash, which is amazing. And I applaud that. So as I'm waiting in line behind them, and there are 4 self-checkouts and people are just going through them. Fine. I had time before my flight. Somebody in the shop came up and said, are you paying with cash or card? And I said, does it matter? And she said, well, this line is cash only. And if you're paying with a card, you have to go through the self-checkout. And I said, well, the good thing is I'm paying with cash. I guess she didn't want me to, she thought I was waiting too long behind these other people. I said, that's fine, I can wait. So they ring me up and they give me the world's second tiniest little shopping bag that I had to pay 49 cents for because there is no such thing as a free bag in California. You have to pay for the bags. Oh, and there's no plastic bags in California. So you're out of luck if you have cats. And if you have cats, you know exactly what I mean by saying you're out of luck because there's no plastic bags. What California did in its backwards way of thinking is, those thin little grocery bags that you get? Like I get them all the time here in Florida, and I use them for the kitty litter and I use them for leftovers. And I put my shoes in them when I'm traveling and I do all sorts of things with them. And what I don't do is I don't throw them in the ocean. I know, isn't that weird? Because I guess everybody else throws those bags in the ocean, the poor turtles. Yeah. I've never seen a bag in the ocean, but AI shows me that there are. Anyhow, the fact is they got rid of those nice little reusable and recyclable and multi-use thin little plastic bags. You know what I'm talking about. If you go to any grocery store, and what they did, they outlawed them. They're illegal. But you can still get the small bags for your produce. If you want to buy some grapes or tomatoes or cucumbers or apples, they have all those little plastic bags in the produce section. It makes perfect sense to me. Anyhow, what they did makes even better sense because they got rid of those little thin bags and they replaced them with those super thick bags. You know what I'm talking about? Those really big, thick ones that don't really work that well for the kitty litter. And they're not that useful because you can't, if you wrap them up and put them in the fridge with the leftovers, they take up so much space. And of course, those, because they're thicker and larger and they don't degrade as quickly as the thin little plastic bags, it makes perfect sense for California, and you get to pay for them. You have to buy one of those plastic bags. If you're in California, they don't give them to you for free, except in the produce section. Or you can also buy a paper bag. So that's California. You have to pay for your bags. And they were charging me 49 cents for this little bag about this big. I said, oh, you know what? I really need a bigger bag. I mean, the reason I'm buying things is I actually need the bag. And they said, oh, she starts rifling through. We don't have any big bags. And I'm seeing one right there, a big bag hanging like on the edge of the counter. I said, well, I'll just take that one right there if you don't mind that. That's perfect. Oh, you can't. That belongs to my boss. This is LA. Can I talk to your boss? Oh, no, my boss isn't here. Just give me the bag. I paid 40. I was going to show it to you. I probably threw it away because it's not even reusable. I paid 49 cents for the world's second smallest bag. No, my pillow didn't fit in it. My water and my snacks barely fit in it as well. So, friends, that's my story of my trip. There's more to tell. I will have another video for you about the self-driving car that I rode in, the self-driving Tesla, that will be upcoming for you. Maybe I can get it by the end of this week. Let's take a look at your ads. Your comments here. Oh my gosh. You guys are fantastic. Oh, they're going so quickly. I can barely stay up on them. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. Rachel says they actually did that to me. She says, when I flew to New Jersey in July, I went through the machine and they patted me down. It's so crazy. Repent or Burn said, I stopped all travel by airplane when the cooties hit. Angel Blue said, I will never fly again. There are people that are on that page. Mary says, I do not go through them anymore. I do the pat down, which is not comfortable either, but it's not as bad as the machines. What has taken them so long to make changes? It's cray cray. And yes, Peggy, you are right about the shoes. Yeah, it's. Rachel says, when my son was here in January, I gave him a cheese board that had knives in it. He put it in his carry-on bag instead of a checked bag. They went through it and they took the knives out. Once I had letter openers. They were, do I even have one? Look at this. Am I going to be arrested for showing this on YouTube? This is like an antique letter opener. I just think it's the coolest thing. It's dull. It's not even a sharp point. And you know, friends, I love to answer all of your letters that you send me. And I had your letters and cards and I was going to answer them. And I brought along my letter opener and they put me through the security. They took out the letter opener. I said, you know, he's going like this. Like, if I was going to take down the flying machine with this, you think I would be stupid enough to put it in my carry-on bag? I'm just going to let that hang there. Now, luckily, they were kind enough to say, you still have time and you can take these, you can go out, you can go give them to somebody, ship them home. Luckily, I had my car at the airport because it was one of those quick trips. And I put those in the car and I still have it to this very day. I think that I have a couple of those. Yeah, I know. It's really too much. Friends, I want to thank you so much. I'm going to look at all of your comments. I really appreciate you being here. It's so fun that we can support each other and really validate what we're going through. To me, that's a very important action step because often we experience things like this and we see everybody going along with it. Don't shoot or shoot, going through the cancer screeners and not even making like a pleasant comment about it like I did. And it really bothers me. And sometimes I feel like, am I the only one that sees what's going on? So I love to come on the show when we can share our experiences and say, no, I went through this too. And I feel the way you do. And even if we have different perspectives, it's good to share those as well. All right, signing off for now, friends. Really appreciate you. Be sure that you get on my free Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. I'll have a rundown of some of these things for you as well. And you can leave comments there and you can share this video, share the Substack Substack. That's another easy action step that you can take. And that way, more and more people can learn about their rights, can start to think critically about what's going on, and maybe even bring some solutions. I certainly don't have all the answers. I have a lot of questions, though. And I do appreciate you being on board with me. And you know what I like to say, as we march this all the way to heaven. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, friends. And don't wait for a notification. I'm here at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday. And this week, we've got our private live webinar. Pastor David is going to be on with me. We are going to answer the question that people have been asking me, and that is about Christians and yoga. We're going to be talking about other things like, should Christians do this or not do that? And even if you're not a person of faith, I think you're going to find this conversation eye-opening, and I would love to hear your opinion about it as well. Remember, that's not going to be a public discussion. That is on our private live webinar for all of you that have sent a donation, that support me through a paid subscription on the Substack. And I want to thank you and support you with these monthly events. All right. If you think you should have gotten an invite and you haven't, email my assistant, and you can find her at support@thehealthyamerican.org. If you've been on the webinar before, it's the same place, same time, same channel, same link, same password.